Hi everyone, it's Alex from Risk Academy, and today I wanted to share something quite exciting with you. I have been very privileged to work with not only Risk Academy and the Institute for Strategic Risk Analysis and Decision Making, but also with Deloitte and many other companies that have participated in what we have called the biggest risk maturity survey ever carried out in Russia and independent states around Russia. And the results are fascinating. We went a very different path from traditional surveys. We didn't really ask questions like yes/no type questions. We actually created a whole maturity model that allowed company to, instead of saying we have something or we don't have something, place themselves on the spectrum. On every question, place themselves on the spectrum where they sit, and that gave completely different take on normal usual risk management surveys. So we've asked some fascinating questions, and the results were amazing, amazingly scary, I should add as well. And now that we have created it across Russia, but I think you would appreciate that the results would be somewhat similar across the world. Some countries, like maybe Australia, would be slightly better. Some countries, like maybe US, would be slightly worse. We don't know. But the type of questions that we asked and the results that we got back are as following. I mean, I can't remember every single one of them. I'll do a separate series of videos to describe some of the findings. But this is just some of the most amazing things. While we have discovered that most of the organizations, I think about 70% surveyed, have a dedicated risk management team. Most of the time it's a separate risk management team. Sometimes it sits with internal audit, sometimes it doesn't. While most of the organizations surveyed have something in place, they have the basic frameworks, they have the risk management team, they have the risk management policy. Many have risk committees, they have risk champions, coordinators, like the whole shebang. Like they have the risk profiles, the risk reports, everything you would consider to be a mature organization like maybe 5 years ago. But then we started asking some real questions. We started asking about, well, how does that risk information actually impact on the way strategy is set? Do executives rewrite the corporate strategy based on your risk analysis? Or how does that risk information relate to KPIs, performance indicators, and the performance management in the company? Does that impact how the performance is calculated? Does that impact what bonuses executives and managers get paid? Then we started asking about, well, how is risk information integrated into decision making? Do you change how your investment decisions are made? Do you change how your budgeting decisions are made? Does your finance and procurement and manufacturing and maintenance, do they behave and perform their activities differently because of the risk analysis? And yet, as you can imagine, the results were pretty scary. And the answer is, in most of those instances, no. In most of those instances, based on the few dozens, well, actually it was more than 50 companies that have participated. Based on those survey results, there is a huge disconnect between what the risk manager does and what the rest of the business is doing. How the rest of the business makes decisions, how the rest of the activities are performed within the organization. And that, I think, is a huge and very scary finding, is that classical risk management, your typical quarterly risk assessments or annual risk reviews or your risk profile documents, they are amazing from risk management's perspective, but they're not driving what the CEO does. The CEO is not changing his behavior, his activities, and changing his decisions on a day-to-day basis based on that information that the risk managers have collected, which is a huge missed opportunity, because the information that the risk managers are collecting is amazing. But because those two processes, the risk universe of the company and the rest of the company, how they really make money, they're so disconnected now that one information doesn't flow into the other, or it doesn't flow consistently enough and frequently enough that day-to-day decisions are changed and improved based on that information. So I found that amazing, and I'm happy to share that with you. Do write what you think about the finding underneath this video. There'll be a lot more coming up, because there's actually, we've asked a lot of very tough questions, very probing questions, and we have uncovered a lot of potentially missed opportunities, a lot of gaps in current state of risk management across the country, which is a big country. Russia is a big country, and I'm sure some of those findings will be just as valuable and useful for the rest of the world. And of course, just saying something doesn't work, something is bad, is not why we did it. We have uncovered a lot of gaps, and for every gap there is a solution. There's a number of solutions. I provide 15 different solutions in the free book that you can download off the Risk Academy website. Since it's been downloaded 7,000 times, actually more than that now, I'm sure you have probably read it already. If you haven't, do check it out. It's free. It's available for free download. For me, for now, thank you and goodbye.